at me on purpose. You're gonna have a field day,
No,
aren't you?
no, I want you to be on Rule Zero because you provide a younger person's perspective.
Why? Thank you.
Controversial. Getting blocked on
because even
platform.
though me and John look ravishingly handsome and young for our age, we're very old. He's
I'm going for the
55, I'm
Viking.
54. You know,
I'm
Hey, you
just
get-
25.
wait a minute, you got rid of your babushka dude? Yeah, give us the full effect here, Fitch. I mean,
Yeah,
what you
bandana
can't.
back on. Rock and roll.
All right, who's got YouTube playing in the
My
background?
glasses too.
That's
Cool.
Fitch.
Fitch, turn
Yeah,
off the
see the-
YouTube in the background.
That's not me.
Hang on, we'll find out.
That was me.
Checky checked one. I think might be Jack. Jack, don't mute yours while I'm muting Fitch. I think we got it. Cool. Whatever happened. So, so Jack, I'm confused. Well, by the way, welcome everybody to the show. We're waiting for the old people who, when they say, I don't know what you guys mean when I say 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. That means we start. Apparently, that means people just start showing up to the church. And maybe the pastor gets around to starting the sermon with, but half of them are Canadians. But today's Rule Zero episode is brought to you by the official John Fitch mug. That is a hell of a mug there. What inspired your Easy Rider motif today?
Oh man, I just it's been getting brighter and sunnier out here, and I've been trying to lean out. Because I bulked last year, and now I'm trying to get jacked for the summer. It's gonna be a Jack Boy summer, and it's not easy. It's not easy to lose the weight with all this kids' food and snacks around.
Oh yeah.
So I've been working out extra, and I forgot I had these when we started the COVID stuff, and we used those as masks.
Mm.
But then I realized they worked as good headbands, and my hair is getting so long that it gets in the eyes when I'm trying to do bag work or other crap. So I put on the headband that keeps the hair back.
What if you're trying to lean up? Are you doing cardio or what?
Yes, added some cardio. I do some HIIT cardio. I have all my own Fitch program stuff. Fitch Smash. I just did my own. I made up my own stuff. I don't follow anybody else's protocols.
Out of curiosity, I mean, any working out will improve someone else. Is that really tailored to you, or was it tailored to, like, if Jack picked it up or I picked it up, I'm sure we would see results, but how much is
anybody
it
can do it. Yeah. But I designed my stuff to be able to do the workouts I wanted to do, be healthy, be strong, look good, and be able to fight. So there's a lot of like martial arts mindset to it. Doing things regularly. Like I don't do like bodybuilder type lifts. I'm not in there for like 2 hours lifting to failure and tearing down one like muscle group. I do 3 to 4 lifts 6 days a week in order to minimize like the recovery that I need to recover from the lifting.
All right.
So I can do other workouts. But like it's just convenient. I had a guy I taught yesterday, and we did 32 minutes of lifting, and then the rest was I held mitts for him. So that's basically a hit cardio workout because he's doing little sprints.
I'm in a bodybuilding competition, for lack of a better word. That sounds too euphemistic, but I'm going up against. Hey, what time is it? Don't you have to go to bed? Don't you got to go to bed pretty soon? There, I'm going to get to you later. Don't worry, I got some things for you when I'm done dealing with Mr. Roper over here, whoever the hell he is, Mr. Vietnam vet.
Born on the 4th of July.
So I'm in a competition, and it's only it's a bet, me versus James Streisand, who looks better with the shirt off by July 15th. And I have lost 1.5 inches around my waist, but no, my weight hasn't gone down. And I'm not kidding, man. It's
a lie. Weight is a lie. Somebody put up a funny meme the other day about there's some fat girl wrote something on her back about weight is not an indicator of health. They always trick you with the words. Yeah, you're right. Weight isn't an indicator of good health, but body fat is. Body fat percentage, and belly fat especially.
Oh yeah.
Yes, belly fat and body fat are not healthy.
The thing is, though, they go with the BMI standards, and indeed, like when you have high muscle mass, you're gonna weigh heavier, so the BMI gets skewed. But if you are overweight, then the scale could be like a good measuring point for yourself. But overall, Fitch is right. Yeah,
most fitness people I know and athletes don't subscribe to the BMI anyways. They do not care.
Mirror the best.
That's layman terms. Yeah, you take pictures of yourself.
Yeah, every week.
That's where it's going to be, because a lot of times if you've never worked out and you start lifting weights, you're going to put on weight.
Yeah,
you're going to put on weight. You might.
Well, anyway, back to the point about me that I was trying to make. Okay,
sorry,
okay, you two in the peanut gallery here.
Bodybuilding competition.
But I cannot endorse enough, because Jack, you're just coming out of winter, and John, I didn't know it was that cold in San Jose. But man, going to Vegas where it's warm and you can go outside. Yeah, if you could go outside and there's hiking, holy cow, does that make a difference? Because you're like, yeah, let's go. You really want to get outside and just do, and you'll drop at least 10 pounds.
You can go to elevation too. Short drive, you can get to elevation fast.
Is elevation good for what?
Anything. Okay, I'm not a scientist. So
that's for sure. Okay. Wow. We were confused about there,
something that I've noticed as an athlete, as a world champion athlete, is that when you put your body into extreme conditions, like there's usually a lot of benefit if you do it right. So going into altitude, lessening the amount of oxygen you have access to, I think definitely pushes you in a way that you're not going to get at sea level.
Well, cool. When you guys come out, we'll have to go up to the Mount Charleston, Mount Griffith area, because
you ever seen a fat Sherpa?
No. I've seen a fat Shirley, but not a fat Sherpa. That's because they're carrying Karen's luggage. I love it when these people go to Machu Picchu. Like, I did Machu Picchu. It's like you weren't even carrying.
Some little guys got all their package.
Some other mule. Yeah, he's got your 80 pounds of gear. And yeah, you made it to Machu Picchu, but Jose over there is like Rambo, for God's sake.
Jose is carrying the tourism of that entire country right there. He is the real American hero.
He is. Oh, so Jack, I was trying to figure out why you look different. I'm like, what the hell did Jack do? And you know what you did?
Tell me.
You got rid of that stupid beanie. That's what it was. I could actually see your hair. I'm like, why does Jack? I mean, did he gain weight? Did he lose weight? Did he get laid? What happened? Something different. And like, you don't have that stupid half sock on your head.
I know. The funny thing is, though, the beanie is actually the hair, but my hair just decided to take a different shape today, just for you. Yeah, just for you.
Hell of a comb there. Look at that. Look at that swath of hair.
I know.
Skater.
It feels great to be young, you know. Now that short stuff you have on your head.
Throw it all out in case it's either going to fall out or turn gray in the next.
Well, let me see where the hell the older people are.
Hey, by the way, can we use this quick moment to wish Rolo a happy birthday, which is today or the 4th of April?
Is it his birthday?
Somewhere around here. Somewhere around these times, it's his birthday. And since he's not here.
Yeah. Why did it say live in 8 minutes, 47 seconds?
No, we are live.
We've been live for 8 minutes, 47 seconds. All right. I was wondering if I got the times wrong. I took lots of time, like, NASA scientist level chalkboard math.
You started eating an hour warm-up show before you started.
John, do you know that Aaron Clary is a professional podcaster?
Professional.
He has been doing this for years. Peak performance right here.
Right here. This is it, man.
Why doesn't it say 7 minutes and 48 seconds?
What scares me is there's going to be some damn college out there offering a course on podcasting and internet personalitying and YouTubing.
It'll be social justice podcasting.
It'll be what?
It'll be social justice podcasting.
Yeah, but and no doubt it will, because that's most of what the young kids out of college will do. But my gosh, it's coming. The day is coming where you're going to have some academic yuts who doesn't run a successful podcast, maybe has a channel, and they're going to go through some kind of, it'll spur off from marketing, I think. And some kids are going to sign up for it. They're going to, maybe the School of Arts are going to offer it. I don't know, but it's
the
coming.
That's the majority of academia, isn't it? A bunch of people who are specialists at their academic studies, but they don't do shit else in the world.
That's college.
And here's why Joe Rogan is wrong.
Here's why Joe Rogan is wrong.
These people, man.
I've never run a business, but
see, I love it. I wish I got into more arguments, but I'm not social enough, and you don't go out in person. I'm getting too old, but I would love to be plopped down in a group
I still fantasize about being social sometimes.
Yeah, but just to have one of my favorite lines is, "Yeah, I'm no economist." Oh wait, and then just pow 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 pow. And but I don't know, something about people sense that you're not gonna let them run roughshod over you, and no one argues with me anymore. And so it's kind of interesting.
Well, I think that's most people today do not push back against anything. You know, they have a hard time pushing back. I don't know.
Well, if I can give my 2 cents
out there, because we run in certain circles, so we're not used to seeing. Because I got kind of plopped down into like normie land. Last night, I went to a rock climbing like studio. There's a thing for the kids. They had an event, but it's a big warehouse with walls and shit everywhere, and you know, it looked like a good place for younger people to mingle and meet and whatever. And they're mostly fit, and they're fit people because you got to like pull yourself up off the ground.
Sure, rock climbers are,
right, but they're still kind of soft. They're still really soft. They're not like, you know, I'm used to seeing like gym bro fighters and stuff. But
right,
like,
you might be a little bit more in the
so like these people, you know, they're in shape, but
things,
they're not fat blobs. They're not just video game players. Like they actually do some physical stuff. And man, it's just you feel this level of soy.
Well, that's kind of what I wanted to say.
It's thick. And you're just like, man, it's just you know, you'd like to think that you could hang out with these people, but you overhear some of the conversations. Just not there. The guys are all super weird around the girls that are there,
even though they got a 6-pack.
Yeah. And, you know, some of the guys are good looking or whatever, they're still like have no idea. You can tell them, you can see it. You can see them get tense. Stuff I probably wouldn't have noticed before, but you can see them kind of get tense where there's a girl.
Well, you dress like that, I might get a little tense if I saw some weirdo walking to the gym. Like,
just walking around holding shoes.
Dude, I'm surprised you didn't make a Tropic Thunder joke.
Who's he dressed like in Tropic Thunder?
No, like a Vietnam War veteran.
Like,
sure, you are a true American. You are a true American hero, but let me do my fucking job.
Do my job.
I made the boys watch Top Gun last night.
Oh yeah, have they never seen it?
They're only like 8 and 10, so.
Oh, that's the perfect age for them to see that. Yeah.
But with the arguing, John and Clary, it's like I'm at that point where I don't want to argue anymore. It's like I know you're wrong, and I've experienced why you're wrong, but you're not going to listen to me anyway. So you know what? You're right. You are absolutely right. Please jump off that cliff. Have fun. You know what? Get that heart attack.
Yeah, but see, here's the and I understand that because I had to get to that point inevitably. But sometimes Obi-Wan Kenobi just wants to beat some ass, you know? Like, I don't want to be like all peaceful Liam McGregor, Alec McGinnis. Oh, yeah, the way of the foe. No, if you strike me down. Like, sometimes you get pissed off. You want to just start cracking some skulls in a debate. But the opportunity, and it's so easy because they're so dumb. But you have to do it precisely. You can't convince them. What you have to do is make them look like complete idiots that they are. So you're not going to win the argument, but you can make them look like a fool. But it's those opportunities are very rare. I was going to say, though, if you guys are ever interested in rock climbing, and I mean cliffs, not just, bouldering is the other word, but Calico Basin, which is on the west side of Vegas, these kids come from all around. You see license plates from New York, Arkansas, Alaska, Vermont. They all come to this place, and you can see the chalk prints on the sides of the cliffs where they're climbing. But Fitch is 100% right. Like, I go through there. Now, all these kids are having fun. These guys are all in great shape. They could all easily beat the ever-living crap out of me. But you get there, and yeah, it's kind of like a little, not totally hippie, but an element of a hippie commie commune, because they bring their pads. So if they fall, they land on the mat. And the girls are in shape, but, you know, I know we criticize the boys for looking sore, but you look at these girls like, okay, you got a great body, but your face would prevent you from wearing a dress. Like, you just don't look happy here. Like, you guys have 3 days off. You drove all the way here. This must be some kind of mecca. Shouldn't you be happy and smiling? And they're just not smiling. Yes, yes.
They're not getting foot good. They're not getting
go,
foot good. What it is.
Go ahead, Jack.
That's how doggy style was invented.
If they were getting good doggy style, though, they'd be smiling more. That's the problem. Is they went to do some super masculine ass shit to find a masculine man to fuck them, and they got soy. And they're
like an American.
They're climbing up these fucking rocks, pissed. Like, fucking, I just want some goddamn dick. Climb this rock.
I can see it. It'd be like a movie scene, but it'd have to be like a multi-scene. Like, they're driving all the way from Vermont, and she's going through her mind. I'm finally gonna get to that. Like, she's just sexually frustrated in the middle of the desert, hiking here with this stupid pack. He's just sitting there. He won't even reach out to me.
I will find my instructor, and he will bang the ever-loving shit out of me, and I will remember it 3 ways from Sundays. He will. And then she gets there, and it's like, hi, I'm Tony, and today we're...
Let's get to it.
That was one of the things that was triggering me last night. It was like the guys, when I did hear them speak, there was a lot of like the soy inflection, a lot of high pitched, tall, muscular guys like climbing around like a gorilla and stuff. And you're like, damn, that dude's a stud. And he's like, oh my God, I almost missed that grip. I couldn't pull myself up.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys got gay friends, but my gay friends, you know how they sound?
I'm here, right?
Yeah, well, they sound like normal people.
Cappy, you're my gay friend.
Yeah. Gay best buds forever, super friends, or whatever the heck the My Little Pony thing is. God, would that be hilarious? Somebody out there could totally masterfully skewer you and me doing a meme of like My Little Pony, but call one Jack and the other one Aaron. I would
give them ideas.
I'd love to see that fall over. Remember the time you got a good one on me, and I can't remember what it was, but it was so good you thought, oh God, baby, I went too far, and I retweeted it because I found it so funny. Oh yeah, I don't think anyone could really.
The one with what was it? Is this beating dogs? Was that the one?
No, there was one.
Now
like
I ain't gay, but my boyfriend's dick. That's
something like that. Yeah, it was.
Oh, I still have that.
So I don't know where everybody else is. I said we are on. It's 11:30, 11:40, 50 now, East Coast time. Paul, the military man, is of course late. Even though he says going to be. I don't know where Ryan is. Ryan usually never misses these. And Rolls said he was going to be on, but let's go through the super chats, and I guess we'll just get going here. Because as much as people would love to hear us talk about sexually frustrated women climbing rocks in the desert, Juan the Aztec Patriarch just says hi for $2. Holy cow, look at all this chat going on. Jeez.
Let's see.
I didn't realize there was that many. Look, 255 people. Don DeMarco, $2. Guys, read Cappy's books. They're awesome reads. Yeah, you two guys should read my books. They're really awesome reads. New ones coming out.
Red Pill.
You guys got anything? You guys got anything coming out this year?
This year.
Not really. I mean, I got the monthly consultation course going on right now. I'm opening a couple of spots later on for that. Other than that, maybe I'm narrating some Boomer's book, but that's not sure yet.
Yeah, they're not sure.
Hey,
Paul's in the house. What's up, Paul?
What up, guys? I hired Jack to narrate a book of mine. I have a book. I still don't know how to publish it. I'm not smart like Cappy.
What do you mean you have it written?
Dude, I have like almost 1,100 pages written. I just got to edit through. And it's going to be 3 volumes. I have it sitting in my community just for people to read it. It's
Well,
sweet.
wait. You
It's
just
actually
need
pretty good.
You just need an editor.
Yeah, I gotta edit like stuff for me because there's like
Uh-huh.
some stuff in there that's a little bit like it might dime somebody out like on a
All right,
personal story or something.
You have
So
to
there's
go
that.
through it. You have to go through.
I gotta
and
go
edit it.
through it, and then I gotta
right,
figure
man.
out what things to do to get it up
Go hit up Nick August from Punch Riot. He's
Okay.
he's gonna edit Ryan's new book as well, and he edited the first one too after Ryan got catfished by some guy on Amazon.
Oh God.
I
the
Go ahead.
author supreme over here is right here. So I'll just get Aaron's advice. I'll just tell
You
Aaron,
get-
ask Aaron, what do I do?
Well, no,
next?
I was gonna recommend an editor if you were up for the grammar editing and all that. If you were at that stage, I got an editor I
Yeah.
can recommend. But yeah, go with Nick because my editor is real busy. By the way,
Oh, okay.
we all, I don't know if you two guys know TJ Martinell, but Jack does. But I am a fan of TJ Martinell. You get tjmartinell.com. Never hire him to do editing. Even though the guy is a journalist, you never hire him to do editing. And you know why?
Why? Because he's a
So-
journalist.
Well, you send over your manuscript, right? It's black and white paper, black ink. You know how he'll make his corrections?
Mhm.
How?
Dark
On ink?
blue. Yeah, he'll
Oh.
like he'll edit it and not on paper. Like he'll send you back the digital document and he'll just change the correct things to dark blue. So when you're going through it, you don't see any of the edits. So yeah, just don't. And he'll only do like he'll spell out numbers instead of letting the
Right.
numbers be. And then I went and had my regular editor go through, found at least 100 mistakes I made that TJ didn't catch. So yeah, don't bother going with TJ. He's got great books.
Right. Yeah, this is interesting. My book situation was a complete accident. So, but it turned out sweet. I was in a Cooper's community when I was in Afghanistan, and I was just answering because it helped me sleep. And I like writing, it's like cathartic. So I would just write to sort of, bring myself into a better, chill state to be able to go to sleep after missions and stuff like that. Right.
Mm.
And I was answering people's questions about, girl stuff and whatever. Right. And then I had a friend, well, he's Fred now. Guy's name's Chris. And at the time he was like, had been a pilot. He had gotten zeroed out twice by different women, was just at the end of it. He was like at the end, and he was like, man, if I could just sort of embody, like get this information and just apply it, like I would be so much better. So he was archiving my stuff.
Really?
And then he hits right. So he hits me up like a couple months into it. He goes, hey man, I've been archived. I've just been saving your posts. Do you mind if I like put it in a file or something in a Rich's community? I'm like, oh, yeah, sure, man. That sounds cool. And then it turned into this thing where like people, it was like a Q&A situation. So it's all these like vignettes. Basically how to be like a Chad basically, but it's all these vignettes, and it turned out sweet. And it's so long, dude. If they published it in one Kindle book, it'd be like 1,000 some pages. It's stupid.
You have to
It's gotta
break
be
that
like,
down. If the limit
Oh, yeah.
is like 800 pages on Amazon or something. So.
oh yeah, but I owe Chris a lot because he labeled each chapter, archive, like so he would have like things categorized. Like he did all
Wow.
this work, dude. Yeah,
Dude,
the guy
that's
was
just
a godsend.
change names, dates, and locations.
That's
You
what I
know,
have
and
to do.
that's it.
Yep.
And then, man, you got yourself a nice little
Yeah.
passive income. You know,
For sure, passive income, but it's but it helps out. I mean, I think it helps out a lot of dudes, man. I've gotten tons of good feedback in the places I've had it up because I've had it up in Rich's community, and then I have my community now for the frame and seduction stuff. And people are like, oh man, I'm going through this. This is really cool. I'm like, sweet.
Your video course is pretty good as well.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
No
Yeah.
problem.
I mean, I get very in depth. I want to over deliver and really help these dudes out. Like my seduction frame material is probably going to be 40 hours worth of video stuff. By the time I'm
God.
done, I'm doing it like every week. I'm throwing new modules out
hey,
that I have
Paul,
outlined. Yeah. What up?
before I forget, do you do consultations one-on-one for guys with like mental issues, or you're not a licensed therapist type?
I don't act in the capacity of a
Okay.
licensed therapist, but I can as a coach. So if somebody has something diagnosable, just have them send me like a message of what there is they're looking for. If it's diagnosable, I have to make sure that they're getting the mental health care that they need.
Right.
But from that point, I do get a lot of guys with anxiety is a big one,
They
depression.
need an
things.
ear.
Yeah, not just needing an ear, but I give them an action plan of what they
Okay.
can do. Because like a lot of therapists are not, they're backing up a psychiatrist to give them meds, basically, or they're using their protocol of therapy and to make sure they don't hurt themselves, essentially, which is obviously good. But a lot of times, most therapists aren't giving them an action plan of how to get out of that, that mental loop that they're caught in. And so, what things to do every day to kind of recondition that neural response.
Right. Well, we don't need to go into neuroscience.
No, we don't have to do that stuff. But that's what it is.
The reason I ask because I got a book out, and and I recommend go see a therapist. And
yes,
I promoted Dr. David Maloney and Sean Smith. Well, both those guys are booked solid, and so it's like, well, God, I don't know any other therapist, but you'll do in a pinch. You'll scare little children.
I'll scare them.
Thor, you guys know Thor, right?
Thor's the man. Hell yeah.
Thor's the man. Cappy, nice to see you hosting and talking smack this fine Saturday morning. Thanks, Thor. Say hi to your wife, Missy. Also, if you guys didn't know, all 284 of you listening, his wife, Missy, got an unfortunate accident, was paralyzed from the neck down. Thankfully, through a miracle, she got feeling again and is slowly regaining her ability to walk. They have medical bills, and if you would kindly donate some money to them, you can just search Thor Missy, 2 unique names, GoFundMe. You'll land right at their GoFundMe page. Thor Missy GoFundMe. Before you drop some money on some booze or dog girls, how about you toss them a couple bucks because they could actually use it. I'm just going to clean up the super chats and then we'll get going here. And I don't know where our regular list of all-stars are. Glenn,
you can carry this, dude.
We can. Yeah, no, I know. I just wanted to leave it open because I don't want to introduce the topic and then like have real quick. Hey guys, what's going on?
Hey, what are we talking about? We got Jack here. We can carry anything with Jack.
Me and Robert Kiyosaki holding hands, walking down by the river. We can do it. We have Rolo the Third here. Glenn Lawrence, $5. A gorilla in a world of chimps. Thank you, Glenn. BJ Tucker, $5. Perkins Fund. Thank you. Perkins is the best.
Get it.
And Glenn Lawrence again. Paul helped me with my shit. Therapists are a joke, but Paul got me results. Good. Well, see, but you can. That's what I like about what we can do is our hands are not tied behind the back, politically or professionally. Where a therapist, I guarantee you, every therapist wants to reach out, slap their clients across the face, saying, "Stop being a fucking pussy," but they can't do that. We can. We can.
Right. Yeah, and it's just you're not as limited. I'm not limited to what the APA or what if I was a counselor with the counseling licensed professional counseling licensing board has to say when you're in a coaching capacity, and that's it. The only thing is you just can't, for legal reasons, deal with. You can't be
genuine mental disorder. Yeah, you can't treat.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But you can tell most people aren't in a state of needing treatment for like something that's diagnosable on the DSM. They're more in a state of needing help for problems. It's really just that. They're normal functioning people, but they have anxiety. That's different than someone has such crippling anxiety that they can't function.
They fall into 2 categories. People whose lives are screwed up, which has nothing to do with their mental illness. Truly bad things befell them. Or they're faking it and they just want attention. And, whoa, I don't do anything in my life and I'm so sad. What do I do? Get off your fat ass, you lazy fucking soy boy. And that's where I lose the patience for. I'm like, oh, I got diagnosed with this. I got diagnosed with that. And you're a fucking loser. Don't forget that. You're a fucking loser. And that's why you're fucking sad.
I mean, and I'm going to offend some people with this one, but sure, let's go. I mean, Twitter already banned me, so here we go. Most mental issues can be fixed by going to the gym. I said it.
There you go.
There's some truth to that. There's a lot of truth to that, actually.
Get off your fucking ass, lift weights, enjoy the endorphins, enjoy the dopamine, and enjoy the ride of improving yourself. Because improving yourself needs a switch in your mentality about yourself. You won't fix yourself if you don't care about yourself. So the more you start fixing yourself, the more you start caring about yourself.
Well, and it's not just that though. It's that the active exercise and attending to a regular exercise program has better, more consistent effects for most people than SSRIs or medication for anxiety or depression. They have studies to prove that. Yeah, there's studies to prove that. But the thing of it is it takes about 2 months for it to kick in. And that's where people they don't want to wait the 2 months. They want to take a pill, and they can feel immediate results, but
immediately
just need to give time.
Yep. Have you seen the side effects of antidepressants? Holy shit.
God, dude.
Holy shit. And they prescribe that stuff.
Running around. That's
Am I wrong in like anyone I've known who's taken antidepressants, they're depressed. I'm like, shouldn't you be bouncing off the walls and be happy or something? Like, because when I get drunk, I'm a pretty happy guy.
Shouldn't every psychiatrist, shouldn't every therapist, shouldn't they be leading with their record? Right?
It's not evidence based when they get the therapy. I wish.
How many fights has this guy had? How many fights did he win? How many did he lose? How did he win them? Like that, they want to look at that stuff. They want to see that ranking, right? So why in therapists like, hey man, I've served 500 people and only 7 killed
3 killed themselves.
Like what are your odds? Like how many? I fixed this many people in a year. I fixed this many people in 2 sessions. Like.
Dude, well, it's not even just that because that can be tough. I
want to keep you on the line your entire life. Keep talking about the same problem that you never fix. Just keep going on it. Let's just keep digging and picking at that scab.
Yeah. Well, and it's up to the individual to fix their own problem, and the therapist or coach is there to just help them with them fixing their own problem. But that being said, though, at least having data for their treatment modalities. That would be nice. It'd be nice to say, hey, okay, someone who gets because they make these promises that never really sort of come to fruition. Well, you're really in a bad state right now. We'll put you on medication. In 6 months to a year, you'll be off the medication because you'll do the therapy and you'll feel better. The medication is just to kickstart you and to make you feel better. But more often than not, that doesn't happen.
6 years later.
They stay on the medication and they get worse. They have to go down a rabbit hole of taking more medication and different combinations of stuff because now they're damaging their neuroreceptors. It's catastrophic. Like you can look at the data on this stuff too. Dopamine receptors with ADHD medication is pretty low consequence as far as permanent damage to the receptors, but things that mess with the serotonin receptors for some reason create a permanent damage situation, and that's what you're dealing with is that those receptors get so damaged that they cannot regulate their moods on their own, and now they're screwed. Well, I
was going to say and I'm being deadly serious about it. I'm not painting with a broad brush. I'm taking what we would call a macroeconomic view where you look at the nation. But when I was pulling the data for how not to become a millennial and looking at mental health, everything is getting worse. Like the rates are going up, not just the pure numbers, but the percentage of the population that is mentally unhealthy has been going up, which only proves to me that the psychology profession is fraudulent. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
They're just expanding. They're creating more patients.
They are. Yes. No,
because they're money mules.
Well, it's a business.
I understand.
That sounds like a condition. You have a condition. You need to go.
I understand the financial incentives of what's going on.
Oh yeah.
What are you, an economist or something?
Well, I am an economist. Hopefully one on the internet. But what I was going to say is because where there's a risk in saying all psychology is bullshit, it's all fraudulent. It's like, no, sometimes you actually do need professional help. There is such a thing as mental illness. But when you look at it, it's like, okay, here's the efficacy rates of this study, this field. And it's like, no, motherfucker. Like, instead of going to a therapist, which, okay, fine, going once, get diet, whatever. But man, it's up to you. Diet and exercise. Now, Jack's parents, because Jack's too young, but for me, Paul and John, what was the number one thing your mom told you to do You're in the house, 78 degrees outside. What would she
Get
say?
outside.
Go
Shoot,
outside.
Get
Helmet.
outside.
Get
Get out of
out.
here.
Not for her not for your mental health. She
You
just
know?
didn't want to see your ass anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I woke up, ate breakfast, watched my cartoons, and then I was outside.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, you
And
got
then,
you got
she would
kicked
come
outside.
out. She would
for
come out
sure.
and yell at lunchtime, and I would, wherever I was, I would hear, and I'd come in and eat, and then I'd head right back
get out
outside.
back outside and play.
That's right.
Yep.
You kick a
Until-
kid
yeah.
outside now, and like
a
he
big part of
cries
that
on the
too, though-
front lawn, and someone calls CPS.
Yeah.
A little bit, though.
And he brings his
A
tablet to the
part of
playground.
that, a big part of that schedule for me growing up was because we had the Farmer Five. The Farmer Five. That was the 5 television channels that we had. That was it. So until I was in high school, we had 5 channels.
Hmm.
And some days when it was kind of rainy, you got a 6 like wobbly line channel that played music.
You were that
that was
rich? Wow. You had the 6
Man,
wobbly channel.
Loaded.
What's next? You had
It
an
was like
Atari?
a signal that you would pick up somehow, and it wasn't like the full signal, but sometimes you'd get the music. But like,
Dude, I'd get the little, I was the era of where like you get like, the fuzzed out porn station. You could like, catch some of it. You know what I mean? Like that was pretty cool. Your cable,
that
you're like,
wasn't
"Ah."
until
If
we
I
got
like,
cable or
it'd
whatever.
show you like 5 seconds and then click off and you're like, oh, damn it.
That was the best 5-second direction I ever had.
Hit
Jesus.
it again. You know what I mean? That's right.
All right. Hat and clog, $2. Jackie, who hurt Cappy? Jack, who hurt me?
Well, that is a very intricate question. That
Yeah.
needs
Nobody
deep
can hurt
philosophical
Cappy.
answer.
Long and painful
The,
answer.
the long
here.
and short of it is who didn't.
Oh,
Here, why can't you guys be like Steve? You just give me money and you shut the F up. You don't have it. Steve is not my favorite person.
He's a good guy right there.
He's a great guy.
Here's some money, bro. Like,
Just seriously,
Because some people,
Yeah, anything
some
to say.
people like to talk to their prostitutes, Cappy.
Oh, okay.
I'm on fire today.
Yeah, you
good.
are.
You're good. Well,
Remember
so
that
on
book deal you
psychology.
wanted?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, go on. You wanna?
I was gonna say let's do this. I'm not gonna wait
Do
for what was the Ebert and Siskel. I'm not gonna wait for those two.
Right.
So why we gathered all here today? Because the topic I wanted to talk about, and Ryan says we already talked about, but I don't remember having this conversation, and that is introducing the red pill to younger people. And by younger, I mean young boys, and not the funny ha-ha sort of way. I'm not talking 3-year-old boys, but the problem that we face, I think, Paul, you're here, John.
not
What
the
is it,
force
Jack?
you
What
do
is it now? What?
I can just imagine you on the playground like that 3-year-old bitch that stole your ball. That's because hypergamy doesn't care. You should know that.
What? No, that's actually not what I'm talking
Don't
about.
give her your time, bro.
But what in
Semen
general,
retention. What do I have
Keep
a
stacking
conversation
Pokemon
with
cards,
a
man.
3rd grader about semen
Pokemon.
retention.
Pokemon cards and kickball. Anyway, but all the advice that we give here will do the best for a man and a woman the earlier they take it. And that was one of the problems I faced with my books because they're largely financial. It's like, look, if you major in stupid crap, you've lost, in my estimation, that 4 years cost you 20. Not only the 4 years to take your worthless degree, but then 15 years of wandering in the desert, paying off your student loan debt, and having to go back to college.
Psychological damage of going.
Oh, we
through
haven't
that
even got.
process.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to that yet.
Going through that process and then getting to the end of it and being like, oh shit, like I'm worse off than when I started.
Right. And that's what it is. It can easily take 10 years to recover from a lie. And that could be financial, it could be romantic, marriage, familial, whatever else, or just psychological, being told lies about your environment. And it would do a hell of a lot of good, almost like a chicken pox vaccination or whatever vaccination you give kids when they're younger, to do that as early as possible so that going forward they don't suffer like we did with confusion and when they get older. The problem that it runs into is, I don't know about you guys, but it churns my stomach and pisses me off when you see some single mom slur at a protest dressing their son up with whatever propaganda or political thing, little 3 or 4 or 5 year old child.
No, me too. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I don't do that even on the other side of the aisle.
Yeah, you don't, because we have
I
etiquette.
have an 11-year-old.
Yeah, there's principles, and like I don't want to go in to a middle school or a grade school and start shoving politics or whether that's right leaning financial or I want them to be fucking kids.
They're doing it though. And that's
know
the thing. They're doing it. And that's the oh look, the our hot Canadian model friend is here.
Look at that here.
Where he needs to be in his what is it, a dress shirt, underwear, and sunglasses and socks. You know,
I can't beat Bruce Springsteen over here. Let's just face facts.
But anyways, I was saying though that they are doing. See, there used to be a drive like back. What you might remember, Cappy, and possibly John too. When I was a kid, they drove towards critical thinking. The words critical thinking came out their mouths a lot, and that was the idea. Was that we're going to teach them how to think, and then they're going to make decisions for themselves and stuff. And that was the idea. They've moved completely away from that into we're just going to tell you what's right and what's wrong. Yeah. And what's right for a bunch of academics and teachers and stuff like that is very left leaning and is very, woke stuff. And it's very acceptance movement, but then getting into
groomers,
not really accepting, a cisgender male necessarily, but being very accepting and shoving down people's throats ideas about gender identity and stuff like that. And I've had to deal with that with my son in the school, which is why I pulled him and homeschooled him for a period. That's not easy, but you do it because you do what you have to do. You have to combat and counteract the stuff that they're delivering in these schools at home. You have to.
And that's part of this, with talking about whether or not to teach the red pill, man. We all know that you can't force red pill on somebody. You can't take it to them. They have to come looking for it. But at the same time, with the kids, if you're not actively teaching them red pill stuff, the other side is constantly bombarding them. Right, from the TV shows, from the schools, all this shit in Hollywood, music, it's bombarding them. And
do you guys remember when you were in school?
If you're not actively I watch my show, I watch the cartoons with the kids, and I'll stop the cartoon in the middle of the thing. This is fantasy. This is bullshit. This isn't the way anything works. They're just having a poke and having some fun. You guys understand that, right? I'll make sure they understand that this isn't real, or this is fake, or these people are psychos. You just can't let it. You just can't let it slide. You can't just be oh yeah, watch whatever you want to, and then go into another room and do something.
Now here's a role model, Patrick Bateman.
It's not an option. So you have to actively put yourself there and make sure you're talking about stuff.
Yeah, you have to present the idea. You can't
I made a point to show them about the swimmer, the national champion swimmer.
Right.
Because that's just obvious. It's obvious.
But what the question I would have though, see, you guys invest in your children. Their children have their fathers available. And this, what we're essentially doing is we're doing the job as a fathers, because I know we pick on woman ain't shit. Am I right? Single moms, ha ha ha. But man, for every one of you guys, Fitch or John, I'm sorry, Fitch or Paul, there's 50 dads who are non-participatory, whether they're in the house or not.
They sit back and let the woman run everything.
Or the teachers, or they don't look over, Paul, you said, no, I'm taking my son out of school and we're going to do the homeschooling. Dude, less than 1% of the fathers would do that. So we have
they
now.
Can't do a lot of them. They don't.
Fuck them.
I'm fortunate.
There we go.
Here. I'll put it this way.
Damn it.
Why do you, early morning Cappy, have to invest in somebody's kids more than he fucking invests in them?
Because that kid's going to come knocking on your door with a little red book.
He's just making the point.
Maybe, but chances are he's going to sit. He's going to do exactly what the stupid idiots do.
Let Ryan finish. Go ahead.
But honestly, we talk about don't date single moms because you don't want to have to take care of their kid. It's not yours. And now all of a sudden everybody's sitting here. It's we got to save the children. It's fuck the children. And yeah, they're going to be criminals later on. But guess what happened to this generation? They already are that. And we're surviving.
Right.
Yeah, dude,
Well,
the latchkey kids of the 80s and 90s, tons of wee shit growing up. Now all these kids are up and they're growing adults, and what are they doing right now? Clary, half of your videos are pointing out the stupid shit they do. You wrote an entire book on it about
Yeah.
not to be like that. And
Right.
the world keeps turning. Just fix yours.
Blame
Like
the
you said,
boomer.
John had the best approach I've ever seen to this. I don't know, raise your kids like you're involved and you give a shit. And I'm like, that's so novel, it just might work. You
Right,
know?
but none of us are here. Let me
Yeah.
explain why all of us are here.
Yeah.
All of us are here is because in the past, our parents, along with society and teachers, failed to educate us about some basic shit, whether that's finance, girls, the point and purpose of life, and all that.
Yep.
That machinery is going to continue to mass produce boys and girls who are fed lies, given an operating system that does not work in the real world. And if we decided to fuck the kids, who cares about that crap? I don't give a shit. That's an academic point, but we don't do that. Obviously,
no,
we do
no.
care
It's a
'cause we're
practical
here.
point.
I know, okay, it's a practical point, but I'm also pointing out, yet we're still here. Like, why'd you write the Fook files, Ryan?
If it's there if you want it. I wrote it because I wanted to write a book. If some kid saves his life from it, that's great, but I can't have that covert contract where I'm writing this to save lives. And if they don't come once a week sending me a comment how I saved their life, then that's just garbage. Screw it. Don't they know that's the script that I had in my head and they have to fulfill it? It's like, I don't know, consulting. You've been a consultant before. You know the deal. You're not paid to fix a company. You're paid to tell a company what they need to do to fix itself so they can roundly ignore you and say something else. You'll never make it as a consultant if you have to expect the outcome from somebody. Like, you can't change that. Same as a doctor. I can't make you stop smoking. I'm going to tell you, though, if you smoke, you're going to die. And you're right.
Paul.
But, I mean, as a kid, did you ever listen to teachers? I never did.
Wait,
I never gave
Yeah,
two
but
shits what they said.
these people are listening to the teachers. That's what
Are
the
they,
problem.
though?
Girls,
Or is every example of somebody who did listen, every crazy person plastered on the media? Like
No,
that
see,
stupid,
it's-
remember Drag
Might-
Queen story time? How that's been
tell you how
for
they
10
listen to
years.
them,
Every
but-
conservative's thrown that out like it's they're coming after your kids. It's
I-
like if
I
there was
would-
a
I-
second
okay,
example, they'd have
Ryan,
posted it.
I would agree with you if I didn't write the How Not to Become a Millennial and looked at the book and saw just what
Yeah.
happened to that generation.
Okay, might
yes.
I add to this?
I'll tell you how it
Please,
happens.
go ahead, Jack.
Yeah.
Might I add to this? Well, I knew Ryan was going to say this because, well,
Because he's
No.
obstinate.
well, not that he's predictable or anything, but he's right. It's like they're not our kids. John, Paul, they're your kids, of course, and it's very good that you pay attention to them because most dads don't. Cappy was right about that. But the thing is, and as you two do as well, lead by example. Cappy, you say the teachers are indoctrinating them. You, my dear friend Cappy, have more followers than most of these idiots combined.
Right.
Your entire
I
business
don't have these kids for
relies-
8 hours a day for 13
No,
years.
but yet, where do they end up? Reading
right.
your
they
book.
end up here because they hit puberty and they want to get the girls. That is the only catalyst by which they start questioning the brainwashing and the bullshit they got because they want to get
When they're
laid
not
and they-
getting the girls.
Right.
You cannot
I am-
beat biology in the end.
And I know, but how much pain and agony did the old timers go through? Like,
Good.
not even about the girls. Just like, why does this bitch of a fucking 4th grade school marm hate my guts? Like, lady, get the fuck. Okay, fine, yeah, women, girls can do everything. Like, they're not just lying about how to get the girls out. They're lying about, hey, for God's sake, they're lying to these kids about their gender. Like, ooh, you might like licking this type of genitalia. And I am
Okay,
not saying
that-
that this is our responsibility. I'm thinking like, dang, man, there's okay. If we want to be Machiavellian about it, there is a profit opportunity for Ryan Stone to, I think.
Oh, that's,
get
well,
these
good
kids-
straw man, sir.
That's to get.
That's not even what I meant either. But it's kind of like, okay, when the kids start trying the whole diddling way and things like that, as a parent, which I am not, but I would advise you stand up to that shit. Lead by example. You can't force Rolo's book down a 5-year-old's throat and tell her little Susie next door is a bitch. But you can
Let me
lead by
throw a-
example.
Yeah, so let me throw a little insight though. It's things I wouldn't know if I didn't have an 11-year-old who's going through the process. Like, I really wouldn't know it. And one thing is that, again, back to indoctrination, it's very subtle and normalized. It's not the things that kids would question and sort of go against. It's not the same thing as like when parents told you not to do pot. You're like, well, maybe I should try pot anyway, right? I'm not talking about that. It's the subtle ways of presenting the world and normalizing a sort of ideology in how that presentation is there. And then they're not having an alternate. And parenting now, I mean, parenting is difficult in a sense because I feel like in some ways more so now than it was before, because before did parents really pay that much of attention? No. They went to work, mom's like, get your ass in here, dinner's ready, and that's what happened, right? It was just that,
Latchkey kids,
and then and then they sort of, they directed them, but kids kind of after a point, after, once they started getting in social circles and schools, more or less raised themselves with this umbrella of values that parents had. And the influence they had was more through example rather than what they told them. But nowadays, though, kids are getting indoctrinated through their media, through cartoons that they watch, through screen time and the stuff that the video games they're playing, all these little things are presenting a particular view of the world that's setting themselves up for failure, where we didn't have that level of technology and indoctrination when we were kids. We didn't have that. We played ball outside and some kid got mad, another kid punched him, and we figured
we watched
it out.
8 hours of TV. Let's face facts.
Well, I mean, but yeah, I got kicked outside a lot. But I mean, even the TV programming though that we watched back then was different now. Like there's a effort with I'll say artist people in Hollywood, people who make, the cartoons, the stuff, the kids entertainment, all that. There's an effort to instill their value system through these channels. And you have to now directly pay attention and combat that by making alternative points of view available. Like I have my kid, I'll make him watch certain things on just like, what was it? It was Edgar the Exploiter cartoon, for example, which is a libertarian idea that talked about, minimum wage, something like that. It was put together like a cartoon, and I make him do these little assignments, reading some of the classic books that bring up problems and ideas that he's just not going to get.
Fuck files.
Why would you give my shit to kids? Are you crazy?
So, he's been reading fuck files since last year. No, but really, but just like, some of the classics and just things that we got exposed to that are being censored out now. And all it does is just present a different viewpoint or idea. And he then uses his own critical thinking to challenge some of these things in school. And that's kind of what you have to do as a parent nowadays. And a lot of parents still don't realize that because their parents just sent them to school, sent them to their friends or extracurriculars, and things sort of worked out. But there's just a lot more bullshit now that we have to combat against. If that makes sense.
Mine's more of a these are all true, and I know Ryan, he's like, let the kids burn. They're on the Titanic.
That's not what I said.
I'm simplifying it. I know.
Ryan stabbed a baby yesterday. just keep going with it.
With a Canadian icicle.
Dude, I'm drinking like the driest martini ever, so bring it.
In the morning.
Did you know every time Ryan smiles, a child falls?
No, it's not my point. Point is not to make money off of it. The point is not to like, fuck it, let the kids burn. My point is you have a certain sphere of influence in the world. It's the serenity prayer. Take the strength to change the things you can change, the courage to, or whatever, that accept the things that you can't, and the wisdom to know the difference. I cannot stop Hollywood child diddlers from throwing woke cartoons on TV.
But
I can't stop my lazy fucking neighbor from like ignoring his kids to the point. Dude, I used to live in Edmonton back when I first got out of college, and the neighbor, some divorced chick, had like I don't know, it was like an 8-year-old daughter or something like that. And I used to have my family over all the time, and my sister at the time was 8, I think. And she used to come over the time and play with her. And it's like, hey, they have some fun times. They play with my Super Nintendo. I'm like, whatever. It's kind of messed up that you have basically a single guy living next door and you're sending your daughter to go play with him all day. because he has kids over there, but that sounds worse than it is. But the point is, it's like people just don't raise their kids, and they just like have a level of disinterest in this kind of shit to the level that I can't fix it all. And if you try to pick up all these stray cats, all you're going to end up with cat shit in all your places. So
No, but you
So
know what
let
you
me-
are
let me-
doing though, inadvertently, just real quick. Sorry, what
Yeah,
you're
please
doing
do.
though, what you are doing though, which is really good, and how you're having a really positive effect, is you're teaching men how to manage their relationships better, and then that trickles into how they present that information to their kids. And so it is an effect that you're having, and that's a good thing. You're
Sure.
right. You can't go
yeah,
raise
play an
someone's
example, write a good book, make a good video,
Yeah.
write. How many books do you have, Aaron?
Oh, I don't know,
2,
10.
3, 10? Jesus, I've only bought one of them, man. You got to market better.
Hmm.
Fitch
What are
has
you talking
2.
about? I'm doing
I've read
fine.
1. You have 10. I've read
He
1.
blames
He's running
you
like
that he doesn't have
5.
his books.
I've
No,
read
but that's
Rich's, all of Rich's books. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that takes like an afternoon, if that. Yeah.
Fair
But, like,
point. Fair point.
But like that's the point. It's like get yours and lead by example. That's the best you can do. If you're gonna start worrying about all the kids in the world, you're no better off than Karen because you can't save all the kids in the world.
Yep.
Like I said, I'm not a dad, so I can't speak for that. But for the guys who do have kids, like be like a hawk on your kids. Like don't be a helicopter parrot or whatever, but watch the content they're watching and use the knowledge you have. Kid diddlers in Hollywood. You know what? Disney Plus, cancel that shit. Here's an old DVD box of the Flintstones.
What,
With
let me
cigarette
let me,
ads and everything. Nice.
Mhm.
let me focus what I'm more thinking about, because yes, I know we can't save the world. I'm of all people are, you know, what's the word?
You should
Apathetic
know
or-
better.
I know. And I'm not saying we go in at 5-year-olds and have a chat with little Jimmy and like, hey, now Rolo's going to be reading Red Pill story time or whatever after the transgender story time or whatever. What about, for example, a male equivalent of Teen Vogue? Do you guys remember all the girl magazines, the teenage magazines? This is, of course, be puberty, post-puberty. The girls would read whatever, Cosmo or Teen Cosmo, and they said nowadays it's Boldy or Salon or whatever. That's what I'm saying. You're targeting younger men, boys, like say 12, 13, where now the hormones are kicking in and they're going to pay attention. I'm not saying we could do anything about, oh yes, you know, Marxist, socialist, feminist, multi-gender type of indoctrination little boys and girls are going to get if, you know, first, second, third, fourth grade. But what about, because right now, what would you say the reading level of the average red pill book is? Like, you know, they say it's between this age level. You got to be what? I'd say 20, 25 to start picking up on some of that red pill stuff. Like, especially yours, Ryan. Yours is not your average 18-year-old kid is going to miss about 70% of the points you're making in your book.
Well, yeah, but I don't like treat the audience like an idiot. Like, you know, I'm sure you've seen that rule where write to an 8th grade reading level.
Mhm.
I was just like, fuck that. And that's a bias on my part. The military always taught to the lowest common denominator, and I hated it.
Yeah.
And I made an effort to never do that again.
Right.
But you're right. Most Manosphere books that they write out as their merch thing are all like, you know, writing as if it's highlights for children. Is that an American reference or a Canadian reference?
I think it's Canadian.
Well, let me.
It's like a
I'd say,
children's
though-
book, basically.
But again, back to we can do our audience and guys in the chat. If you put a number 1 or say something, if you agree with this, like for real, there's a lot of dads in the chat who are like, okay, I have all this knowledge. What do I do as a dad? Like they're like, how do I deal with my daughters growing up in this? How do I talk to my sons? You know, they want to know that information. I get that a lot. And that's why I've done videos directed towards basically some of the damage that can happen to women with the decision making that's being promoted to them, you know, running through notches and treating relationships like they're transactional sexual relationships when they're younger, and some of these things that damage them later for having healthy coping mechanisms in long-term relationships, which is what they ultimately want by the time they hit 30. It's like, I do those videos because dads get them and then they go, okay, I've had a lot of them show their daughters that stuff, or at least find their way as a dad to present that information. And that's where we can really, you know, have that influence, because a lot of guys are like, dude, what do I do? You know what I mean?
Right. But okay, Not everyone has you or Fitch as a dad. That's my whole point.
Well, what level of idiot are we talking about here?
Let me finish. Let me finish.
Well, I think he made the point like if we don't reach out and try to
Through the
affect
fathers
more
is
of
what
the
you're
young
saying?
guys, then you end up
Yes.
getting like a bunch of Antifa guys running
Right.
around. And
Okay,
up
so
the town
there's
in the city or your business. You know,
So we reach-
that's like the downfall. It's like, yeah, it's
Right.
great that there's me and Paul taking care of our kids, but there's a lot of shitty parents out there who are really fucking their kids up,
Right.
and it's only gonna fuck up the rest of society.
right, and so let me draw another analogy in parallel. Okay, so I wrote the Ryan. I know you think I have 3 books, but I wrote another book called The Black Man's Guide Out of Poverty. That is precise. What?
I know it's good. I'm just laughing at the title.
Well, that's what it's for. I wasn't going to write The Black Man's Guide to Poverty. It's like, oh, here's how you make yourself poor.
That's the Democratic Party plan.
That's the Democrat Party. They got the playbook. They're much better
Ryan
ideas
Stone's
than-
pregnancy guide.
But the whole point is, and maybe I'm the only one who kind of cares, but don't you guys kind of care? Like, okay, these guys have been lied to. The Black community's
Since
been
when
lied
do
to.
you
since-
have a heart?
Will you shut up and let me make my point? There was money to be made. There's your answer. All right. Here's a group of people that have been comprehensively, in totality, lied to. The consequences of them having erroneous information means they make wrong decisions that do not have any effect in the real world. Consequently, you're poor. And I basically I'm like, okay, these guys were screwed over. Here's a book for your average black man in America to get out of poverty, assuming that you are in poverty. It's kind of the same thing here. The average kid, average boy is lied to, doesn't have a dad around, even if the dad is there. The dads themselves are a bunch of fucking soy wit pussies. Then they get to I hate to say this. Jack's never gonna say these kids kind of need our help. And not only for moral reasons, but they could turn into little red pill soldiers in the future if we all want to have a profit instead of something beyond helping them. But don't you think we ought to, like, wouldn't you have liked it if some older father figure or brother figure or uncle figure came in and said, hey, kid, here you go. Here's a book for the average 8th grade boy. Not waiting until you're out of college, you're in debt, you're fucked up because all the girls you dated were a bunch of feminazi psychopaths that were in training since kindergarten, or you get a divorce and then you look for the red pill when you're 30 freaking 5. Why not start at 15, 20 years earlier? But
agreed.
Okay, all right. So
But I know what Ryan's going to say about it.
Okay,
you
Ryan.
really?
I do. No,
think
I do.
so.
What does
I
Ryan
like
say?
putting things in Ryan's mouth. It's the funnest episode ever.
That sounds horrible.
But I think
Paul.
I know what you're gonna say. I like putting things in Ryan's mouth. I'll
Ryan's
be in Toronto in 2
mouth,
weeks.
the
by
next
way.
podcast.
How much
I-
can we fit?
I've had that. I have been sitting there as a teenager with some 43-year-old man telling me, hey, sit down, let me tell you some shit. And I hated those conversations. Because it was always some
Let me tell you
guy,
about
he was basically unloading his like wisha, shoulda, woulda, coulda fucking stories on me. Don't ever trust it. My bitch ex-wife was this. My stepdad gave me that speech after the separation. And I've never felt so awkward in my life. And I was a 19-year-old man, and he's telling me you're not an old man until you beat the shit out of your old man. And they told me the story about how he put his dad in the hospital. And I'm just saying, from my experience as a kid, if I get some 40-year-old dude telling me how to live life, and I look at him, and I don't think, if I was in this life, I'd fucking love it. So the point of this I'm making is, yes, you're right. You have a lot of stuff, Aaron, that's great, and it's teaching kids. And to look at you, a lot of kids could be like, I could live like that, and that's fine. Most guys aren't doing that. Most guys are just downloading their insecurities and regrets in life onto kids. So kids naturally have like a huge distrust of any older dude telling them how to live life.
Right. My question is
Now my point on this,
What?
which is answering your question. Yes, absolutely. Put the stuff out there. This will work for me. It has worked for me. Here's like warts and all, right? Now, I can't be attached to whether some 18-year-old or 23-year-old takes the advice. Because as far as he's concerned, I'm just one of those fucking jackasses at 43 years old bitching about my ex-wife.
down by the river or that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I'll give
so
you
yeah,
that.
I'm going to make some money. I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to do my best, but I have to be detached from the outcome. That's the only way it works. Otherwise, it's a giant covert contract where Like, here's the question I always ask to guys who are like, let's save the world. And I'll ask this to you, Claire. I'd love to hear your answer. Let's say some guy walks up to you, is like, look, I need help. I need this. I need this. And you give him your books and he reads all your books and he comes back to you and said, this is garbage. I hate all of it. How would you react to that?
I'd be like, cool, I got your money.
Basically.
Right.
But that's the point, right? A lot of guys are like, well, I have to save the children. And then they get fucking mad. Like, this kid, how does he not know? I'm trying to save you from feminism. Fuck.
Right. I'm not,
And you can tell it's not about saving the kid. It's about the guy with his
Ego.
sense of self-importance.
Oh,
and
sure.
that's the
Right.
shit I want to
But
avoid.
we're not going to do that, though.
Guilty.
And he had
Yeah,
to
you guys aren't. You aren't.
But-
John isn't, because you guys are good dads. And good dads don't get attached to that. They're like, I'm going to give the kids the best I can give them. And they're going to do what they do. And, you know, chips fall where they may. It's like a French saying. What was it? Aaron, you know this. You're an economist, where like the say the truth and let the chips fall as they may. I know it's a French saying. Do you know it?
Right. Well, I don't know it, but what?
But you know what I'm talking about. Okay, yeah,
I
I'm
do know
done.
what you're talking about. But why don't we, instead of delivering it, because I don't know, let me tell you about smoking and not becoming like me, kid. It would be a completely different vehicle, which would be targeted and tailored towards a 14, 15-year-old mind. And that's why I bring up Teen Vogue, which has been around forever. And these girls would always read it. And now, why can't we do something like that? It would satisfy one, you could make a profit off of it. All right. For those of you who are looking at this from a purely practical Machiavellian standpoint. Two, it would be much more effective than, let me tell you something about gray pubes, kid. Dirty, dirty, dirty. Don't marry women are all bitches and whores. That kind of thing.
You were 15.
Well,
What did you think about when you were 15?
The problem is, I mean, I submitted my article to Teen Vogue about how periods are dirty and you have to get in the shed. They didn't accept it, so I don't know. You know what? I try to tell these kids, and they just don't listen.
Yeah.
But
Speaking of which, Paul, yeah. I'm sure
What?
you've had some leadership courses in the military. I'm assuming they're similar to Canada. Have you ever had like the mentorship section in any of them, like a leadership call thing?
well, yeah. there's-
Yeah, you know, I'm sure if they said anything like we did at our PLQ, the first lesson is the mentor doesn't pick the mentee picks the mentor. Does that jive with what you were trained with?
Yeah, more or less. We're a little more draconian, which is like listen to your NCO kind of stuff. So he's
fair
your
enough.
mentor now. You know what I mean?
Oh no, but that's the thing. It's this is outside of the chain of command. There's
Sure.
going to be people that come to
Yes.
you because they're like, "Hey, I want to learn this thing. You're something I aspire to in the work wise." And I think that's honestly the best approach.
Yeah.
You can't
there's two.
tell people how to fix their lives. They have to want to fix it, and they have to
True.
resonate with what you're providing. Like the guys who are
Well-
like, "I want to live in fucking Wyoming and have a dog." Clary, teach me, sir. Teach me. How do I get the girls?
This is like a good point that you make, and I'll give you a couple of things. So the best leadership sort of model that's real simple to talk about here it was from the Ranger Handbook: be, know, and do. Notice that tell wasn't in there. Okay, it's be, know, and do. You got to be the competent NCO or person, whatever it is. You got to have the knowledge and you have to do it. You have to do the thing. And then people follow you because they see you as an authority because you can be, know, and do it. And it's not because of just what you're telling them. And there's a couple of things. So one is when teenagers are growing up, they're separating their identity from their caretakers. So they're naturally going to rebel against parents because they're trying to get the separate identity. So there's oftentimes you don't listen to parents, and you guys can probably all relate to this growing up, but you had somebody that you did listen to that was maybe a speaker somewhere or a teacher, one of your favorite teachers, or somebody in sort of your martial arts instructor for me, like
A friend's
somebody
dad's,
in your
all kinds of
yeah. That's not directly your parents that you would feel like you could listen to because your dad and your mom, they're still, they're your parents, right? But that's your mind trying to separate your identities. So there's those mentors that do exist. And even as content creators and all that, we can essentially can be that without even trying to be it. I've had dads just give their kids my videos and stuff and they just say kind of like, and it comes from a position of respect of that person's sovereignty as a human being. A lot of times people talk to a younger person like, you're stupid, don't know anything, let me tell you how it is, and that never goes well. But if it's just kind of like, hey, I'm gonna present some stuff to you that you might find interesting, It's helped me. I think it might help you. And then you back off, or you tell the idea, whatever it may be, and you let them make the decision. That tends to have a better effect. You know what I mean?
I'm real quick. Does anyone know where Rollo is? How is he praising my book? Is he podcasting somewhere else right now? I thought he was going to be here.
He's running a new podcast. It's actually pretty good.
Anyway, did you know, Matt? I know you keep saying, send me the link to where he's doing this, because like I do tune into Rollo, and I'm like, oh, Rollo plugged my book or whatever. I'm like,
no, I think he's doing his band stuff this weekend. So
oh,
he's probably
okay.
out there giving like the, you know how you give the prep intro to the band and like, yeah, guys, come here, and he's probably bye, hypergamy. This first song is called Rage Against the
Hyper.
There's a comment.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. Taxa Mendoza, he says rebellion against parents is not a normal thing. Before 68, there is no such a thing. Is that a new
I disagree with
orchestrated
that.
thing? The kids,
No, that's not true.
kids.
I'm sorry, it's just not.
Yeah,
No,
no, that's pretty normal. There's a Socrates line about that, where the kids today just don't respect their elders and they're too busy reading their clade papyrus and shit from like 2000 BC.
It's a neurological thing.
Way
They've done this,
better.
like neurology looks at it, and when you look at, I'm not an early childhood development expert or anything by any stretch, but it's just brain development. And a baby doesn't have a separate identity from a caretaker. And then as that child continues to grow, part of the process is trying to find out who they are in the world outside of their parents. There's always some degree of rebellion. Now, I could say to that, I forgot his name, his point about prior to 68 is that maybe kids are more respectful to parents. I don't know. I wasn't there. Or maybe they, had valued what their parents' values were a little bit more than they do today. That could be a thing. But I'm sure that on a brain at neurological level, there was some level of, I'm going to try to be different than dad and mom. You know what I mean? Even if
remember
they follow
Greasers
them
from
to
the
a degree.
50s?
Yeah.
Those were pretty much the rebels back then. That was before the birth control pills, so we can't really blame that, can we?
Right. In the Fonz, he could do everything, man.
Yeah.
Everything.
Elvis and his
He could water ski with his coat on. and
Stay
still
cool,
be
pony
awesome.
boy. Get out of here with that communist propaganda. Good sir.
I wanted to mention one thing that I think it's important and where we're having an effect on this too. And I can say this from my own life is that, parenting really is best done by two capable parents, a mom and a dad. And so having an ability to have frame in your relationships and pick at least chicks that are capable of being good human beings that you end up having kids with is a huge asset, because okay, I'm not with my ex-wife, but she's a good person and a good mom, and we get along great. That is such an asset to me. I can't even describe it, because I'm busy being a guy, which is being on my mental point of origin and trying to work on my stuff. And I have to be a parent on top of that. I couldn't imagine how difficult it would be to do that on my own as a dad. I can be a good dad, but I can't be a good mother. And so the fact that she's, does her part and isn't fighting me all the time and all that, we work well, is a godsend. And the fact that my chick, my LTR is an awesome, bonus mom in his life. There's a lot of help that is to me as a parent. And if you don't have frame in your relationships, or if you're not picking at least decent human beings, you know what I mean, to have kids with, you're making your job so much more difficult as a dad, so much more.
But that's one of those things, right? Like lead by example. You have the knowledge. All of us have written about it, made content about it, you name it, on vetting, on boundaries, you name it. So how do you know a chick is a good mother? Well, that's all up to you. What are your values? Ryan can tell you because he has none. Just joking. Cappy could tell you a couple of things. Cappy and I both came from a great household, didn't we? And John is now a father. Paul is now a father. So they can probably tell you hey, this is a way to go. This is not a way to go. But after that, after we've made the content, put it out there, it's all up to the guy himself. What do you want and how can you get it? We've told you what we know. We've told you what worked for us. It might work for you. It might not, depending on what you want. But that's all we can do.
Pretty
We
much.
can give you the tools. Now you need to apply them.
So going and standing in line at the middle school when kids are getting on the bus, handing out flyers and pamphlets. Here's some material for it. That's
I
not
know
real.
you're lonely, Cappy, but no, that's not an option.
You hear it first here, guys. Go hang out at a middle school all day, handing out your phone.
No, but you have options. You have ways to teach though, because like I could do a wrestling club or go teach wrestling people or track and field or whatever. You could do a summer economy course for 8 to 12-year-olds or some shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could,
You
but
market
Jack
it,
Murphy
you
can't
could
teach
do
baseball.
that.
I'm just saying.
You could actively go out and like try to market, that age group. And that honestly, that could be very profitable because parents have money that they like to spend on their kids and get their kids out to do stuff. So if you can have like a commuter camp or something, get the kids out of the house for a while and teach them about taxes, you might have parents willing to pay you a premium to do that.
Dude, we used to have a lot more of that too. Like, you guys are old enough. Do you remember when you were in elementary school, like how many male teachers you had? Like I had a male principal. I had like 3 or 4 male teachers. And then by high school, and I've asked kids that are in like high school now, like they don't see a male authority figure till like 23. It's insane.
Wow.
It's insane. But you know why? Here's another story. I used to teach swimming lessons when I was out of high school before I went to college. And I remember like I taught fairly well. And then at the end of the day, the last day you have like a play day where the kids just go around and you like body slam into the pool, whatever. And I remember my mom told me one day, and I was like 19, she goes, yeah, one of the moms was worried that you were playing a little aggressively with the kids. And I'm like, what? I guess she handed her asshole to her, which thank God for that I had somebody in my corner. But there's this constant thing that anytime a guy is being a mentor in any capacity to children, there's always that one fucking Karen who's like, is that an Epstein? And that's scary. And I shit you not, I think that scared a lot of guys.
Yeah,
What's that?
That's if you're physically there.
But the point is, it has a cooling effect. Like, how many guys want to be elementary school teachers now? And how many guys that have been elementary school teachers have had to put up at some point with some accusation of being a fucking Chris Hansen guest?
It's not even that. It's because men don't do things the way women do. Like I have a teaching degree. Like I went through it. Like, it's like wives and mothers complaining about you rough housing with the kid too much. Oh, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do. Like I remember my ex's mother, like from birth, I was standing my kid up. I was exercising him.
Yeah.
And she tried to lecture me about how all her kids' legs were straight because she never did that to her kids.
The hell?
Okay. So
Bitch, what was she?
I wasn't behaving the way a mother was supposed to behave.
I already know what Aaron's saying.
So they're like,
hey God,
I'm throwing the baby up in the air and I'm being rough and like I had some childhood development classes through
without describing your ex-mother-in-law in too much detail, without identifying her. Explain this paragon of a woman. Like, what was she like? Was she happily married for 40 years and in shape? Or was she just a weapons grade worthless quanta?
Just very lovely person, actually.
Oh, was she?
But Cappy,
Vietnam, like saved a bunch of people. She has an interesting story. But,
Oh, damn.
That's cool. That's good.
Nice.
But no, just like not knowledgeable about physical.
But that's where we balance it out, though, right? I mean, that's where we, as dads, we balance.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though, is now we don't have any men pushing back, saying like,
There's no balance.
This is fine, this is okay. Kids need this. That doesn't happen, even from other guys. So it's like you're just bombarded by all these Karens. Like, oh my God, you can't do that with kids. You can't be around kids. Like, no, you can't do that. You have to do this. And then, like, I guarantee they're forcing this trans bullshit too on these teachers coming through now. So it's like, as a guy, you're going through like, I'm not doing this. I'm not being a part of this. That's why there's no more men in teaching or education anymore.
Yeah.
That is horribly feminized. I went to college to become a teacher.
Feminized thing. The whole culture is feminized. Like, I think like 40% of the teachers in my high school were male. I think most of them were. It was a lot of men teachers. Like all the math teachers I had were all male. Like the history teachers I had were all male. You know, PE teachers. So like, I don't know what's happened.
But okay, here's the thing. Like, aren't men pushing back, or aren't men pushing back on a media level kind of
I don't
thing?
know if they're
Because
pushing
you're
back.
pushing back,
most of it.
Paul's pushing back.
Well,
Probably
not
some-
in the system though. I didn't stay in to teach and be like, I'm gonna fight from the inside. I'm just like, screw these crazy
no,
people.
but that's
Yeah, most
where
guys will do
you're-
that. I did that.
Yeah, screw
And-
these crazy people. I'm gonna go create something else, or I don't have to deal with these crazy
Well,
people.
exactly. And that's when you get to the whole serenity prayer thing. Like, give me the knowledge to know what I can change. Well, what can you change? Your home situation. Who talks to your kids when they're not in school and who filters out the garbage kind of thing. Now, wanting to be in media, wanting to be in politics, Cappy, how many times did you and I talk about this? Do you think any politician is truly happy?
No, I don't.
No,
think any
thank you.
politicians are right.
No, thank you. So what's the male front? The male front isn't in academics. The male front is at home. Learn how to vet, learn how to set boundaries, things like that. The worst decision you can ever make is the wrong woman. So, make a wise decision on that and stand your fucking ground when you have your home front and pay attention to your tribe and your family. Because
Maybe
the
maybe it
media
could,
isn't going to save you.
maybe it could be this, Jack, because you, me, and Ryan have something that John and Paul have a family, and maybe I'm the reason I'm looking for something to do is because we don't have our own kids. I also think of this more of a professional approach, like, well, this is kind of my audience, and this is what they want. And I'm kind of, it's not to say this is passive, but we are introducing masculinity, different things through different ways, either through fathers or mentoring or teaching classes or getting involved in the community. I'm sick and tired of playing defense. I'm sick and tired of reacting to whatever feminist Nazi bullshit comes in through the schools. I want to hoist the flag and start slicing throats. I want to take the war to them.
What's a win for you?
What
does a
would
win
be
look like?
What would be a win is we get a online whatever community, for lack of a better word, but there'd be
Oh, we
a
got
website.
one.
Yeah, what's this?
Let me finish. That isn't dedicated to 25-year-old virgins who didn't get laid in college or divorcees at 40. It's very simple, like a Teen Vogue, except it's online and it targets middle school boys, where it's like, okay, here's some basics. Now, we don't bring in the politics or the hate or anything like that, but like, yeah, hey kid, you got it. I don't see anything
Oh.
like that.
I see what you mean. Like you want to
yeah.
have like Aaron Clary's Blues Clues, basically.
Well, maybe not that dumb, but, and I won't lie.
Fine, comfy couch. We'll go with
if I comfy alone time with Cappy, Jack's basement, whatever you want to call it.
Whoa, totally uncalled for.
Well, isn't what that one
Look,
guy,
hold
the
it,
one who's
hold
like,
it.
my dad never taught me this? Remember that guy, Rollo shit on him a while back? Where he's like, the stuff my dad never taught me, how to tie a tie, how to clean a toilet,
Yeah,
that
that
kind
guy
of shit.
kind of like that. Yes, that guy. I mean, didn't he have like a lot of followers? Now, of course, a lot.
Oh,
of
the
these guys
trads were all over it. They loved it.
Well, right, but I'm saying something more dedicated. That's where the guy's already had his epiphany, where he's like, oh, I got to get a job and I'm an adult and I got to find a place to live, and my dad never taught me this basic shit. And by the way, Modern Life John's first course beautifully does that. I'm simply saying, give these kids some kind of resource to go to where, here he is, he's in the 7th grade, and his bitch of a teacher this year is saying the same womans are great, and the Fed paid you this and that. And they're just like, God, you know what? I just want to play with them biddies over there. What the hell do I do? And then there's, instead of, because let's look at Rollo's, I mean, that's pretty deep stuff, Rollo, right? You write pretty deeply. This is not digestible. So if there was a, how they price books, but they price books for an age. This is for ages 3 to 5. This is for young adult fiction, ages 11 to 15 type of thing.
Right.
Why don't
Huge
we have
gap.
material out there that is for ages 12 to 16, just as a like I wish some guy, or there was a research says, all this is bullshit. This school is bullshit. The fact that everyone's wearing that type of shirt is bullshit. Yes, you are correct. You are right. And you know what? The solution, well, we wish we had a solution. You just got to endure this until you get out of high school. Among other things, that's not just women or anything like that. And yeah, by the way, here's these girls, and this is what happened, just to make it so they're not confused. Plus, I don't know about you guys, but I'm so sick and tired of these scumbag feminists and Marxists going into schools and brainwashing the damn kids. And I'm not saying we're going to end it or stop it, but just to have like an alternative for these kids to know, like, look, yeah, you know why the hair is going up on the back of your neck and your bullshit detector is going off? Yeah, because that fat woman with the pierced earrings and the eyebrows and the pink hair and all that, who's fat, you think is evil, she is evil. She's lying to you. You're not insane. And so maybe that's too altruistic, maybe it's too charitable, but I think it would help a lot of kids, especially young boys, where it's like, hey, look, this is, you don't have to, but that would be the product.
I threw a thing in the chat. Threw a thing in the chat that kind of, because this isn't the first time this has been asked. And Whisper actually had a great piece of content on it, red-pilled content. The whole, why is there so much content for the traditional conservative ideas, that kind of thing. And I know it's not technically what you're saying, but it's kind of aligned with it. The 4 questions he asked, like, so they're like, the idea is their utopia is not your utopia. Right. The idea of the utopia you want may not be the same as other people. So essentially all you're doing is replacing woke culture with your culture.
All right.
They lost the fight. Why would they think they'll win the rematch? And yeah, you're right. Since 68 or whatever the fuck your guy that said there, we thought that these values that you're talking about, the hard work and all that stuff, should win out because they're better, right? Well, then why are we ended up here? Why did we lose so strongly to these different sets of values? Third point was a lot of this traditional ideas, they were destroyed by a non-reversible process. And that's talking about how technology and environment matters a lot more than nurture.
Okay.
And the part that I think that I kind of disagree with you on here, but like I kind of hope to lose this argument, which is a weird way to put it, but they're not offering to save society for you. They're demanding you save it for their kids. I find everybody who makes these arguments about why aren't we doing this? Why aren't you doing this for my sensibilities? And that's the part that I think is the why they don't exist. Why is there no Blue's Clues for guys that just want to be guys? Well, it's because everybody who says we should have that never does anything. They always say you should do it for me. Well, for my kids. And then the guy that they're asking to do it for, what's the benefit for him? You know, Key Bono, what's in it for me? Because incentives matter. You're an economist. I'm not explaining something you don't know. Where's the incentive for some guy to make his own kids-themed, middle school-themed content to teach them to do this certain type of values? And what's he going to get for it? He's going to be accused of being a pedo. He's going to be accused of being a trumping anti-vaxxer, misogynist, racist. And he's basically going to have his life, he's going to remove his bank accounts, shit like that. So where's the incentive for any guy to even do this? And until that question gets answered, I don't think you're going to see it. I really don't.
Well, I think you're slowly going to see it's really just a gap in the market right now. If you look at it, how we look at, products and sales and any of that stuff, I'm not a children's book writer. You know what I mean? It's there's only so much I can do, and I'm doing what it is that I'm good at. I feel like I'm good at, and but it's not necessarily like for me to direct it to my messages to like 12 to 18-year-olds. It's not in my wheelhouse right now, but there's somebody out there. I don't think
it's in almost any guy's wheelhouse is the thing. Otherwise somebody would be doing it. You know what I mean?
Sure. But there's reasons why, but see, things happen in a process, right? Things evolve. And so we've had this sort of woke gynocentric thing that's been building and building and building. And now you're seeing like this pushback. We're here because of that pushback. So the next evolution eventually is going to go, somebody is going to go, you know what? I had struggles with my kids. I'm passionate about teaching and helping kids because I'm a dad and a soccer coach and all these things. I'm going to write a book, or I'm going to open a YouTube channel and talk about how to raise, that's just that gap in the market is there, and somebody's going to fill it at some point probably. And because there's now a building need for it, just like there's a building need for our information that we're getting out, that'll happen. I just think it hasn't happened yet. I just think it hasn't evolved into that yet. You know what I mean?
Well,
Well, then it's just a matter of time. We just got to wait it out, so we don't have to do.
Right.
There are people out there doing stuff with younger people, though.
Matt Walsh.
I was on a podcast the last few months with a man named Matt Boudreau, and he runs apogeestrong.com, and it was a bunch of kids, it was like a bunch of 12-year-old-ish kids asking questions and basically red pill topics and how to better yourself. And they were, they're 10 years ahead, 15, years ahead of where most guys are when they first fall into the space. So there's some people who are doing things.
I mean, Matt Walsh from the Daily Wire. I mean, raging tradcon. But he is writing children's books. The Daily Wire is fighting Gillette as a razor company as well. They are, whatever you think of them, they are putting out new content there for that age demographic. So it is happening. If it's going to work, I don't know. But they are. Alex Jones is writing a children's book. I would read that.
He's alternative. He's out there doing something else.
I would love to read that.
I want to read that book. I really do.
Hey, here from Alex Patino,
like
he brings up a good. He brings up a good point. $20. My friend, who is a Marine veteran, became a school teacher and tried to get parents to enforce dressing standards, especially for the girls. And he would get accused of, "Why are you looking at my girl?" So he gave up. See, this is where it's like, yeah, you got John and you got Paul, but for every John and Paul, your average person is dealing with.
Read that last sentence.
Why are you looking at my girl?
So he gave up.
He gave up.
Yeah.
So he gave up. Where's the problem? So he gave up.
You're reprimanding the kid for wearing whatever, and then the parents sees that as a reflection of like,
them.
Bad parenting.
Like a whore.
How dare you call me a bad mother? You're a pedo.
Hang on, I'm trying to find. Sam donated $20 as well. By the way, you are all allowed to donate $20 super chats. That's great.
It's no $5. Those are career enders. You don't want those, Clary.
What's wrong with $5? Okay, fine. Right.
That's
there,
what ended
Ryan.
Murphy. Jack Murphy got killed by the $5 super chat. I'm just saying.
Burb Sheed, 5 Australian dollars. Apache helicopters are by far the most neglected minority group. Can we get an appreciation day?
Atheism, am I right, fellas? Sam
Whiskey.
Somebody wrote a book. Didn't they write a book? I'm an Apache. I identify as an Apache helicopter.
Sam Whiskey, $20. It's easier to convert indigenous people into Christianity than it is to red pill a man on his third single mom. Well,
I mean, okay, Cappy. I mean, you and I have talked about this as well. How many parents actually want to be parents?
None. I'd say like 5%.
You can advertise to that demographic all you want. Most soccer moms got their kid as a medal. I now have a child. I can check that box. Right. So, I mean,
which only makes my argument more. These kids probably need something.
Most parents don't give a shit.
I know.
Most parents just don't give a shit.
I hate to sound like won't someone please think of the children? That's but
you have come full circle.
I have come
starving in Africa. Can you believe this? They're starving in Africa.
God.
Oh my God. All right.
Finish your potatoes, sir.
All right. Well, I think we did a good job. I'm now more depressed than I was before. Thank you very much.
We did it, boys.
We did it. Any other? I mean, any other insights? I guess we've concluded. No.
Well, I mean, I think the best thing we can do, really, and parents can do, is instill critical thinking and questioning narratives. That's the best thing, to be rebellious in that sense. Some people think rebellion is not people, but I mean kids especially. They think rebellion is just doing the opposite of what somebody else is doing, and then they're following somebody else's stupid idea. And that's not really the same as using critical thinking and questioning. If we can get people just to do that, because there's a lack of that everywhere with adults particularly. If we can start having that message when people raise their kids, you're going to see a lot better results, because quite frankly, the narratives and the things that are going on aren't really serving most people in the best way, but they just don't want to question it because it's comfortable, enough for them. And so if we could just instill that again, that critical thinking stuff, I think that's a good start anyway,
Any other final comments? Ryan, how much you hate children? Is it?
Fuck them kids.
I'm not gonna tell you I love children. I've already fallen for that. No. I'm not doing that Chris Hansen shit. No, fix what you can control. You can control certain things, and you realize kids aren't just malleable pieces of gold that can be molded in any way possible. Kids generally don't listen to shit. They do their own thing, and they may be influenced. That's fine. And if you're not a better influence than like Drag Queen Story Hour, then whose fault is that? You know what I mean? Some dude's telling you, oh yeah, shove all the dicks in your mouth, and he's somehow more persuasive than you. That's not a critique on how bad woke people are. That's how much of a critique of how shitty of a dad you are. I'm sorry.
Ryan, you got nieces or nephews by chance?
I've got a bunch of both. My brother actually just had a kid.
You gotta be like the coolest, funnest uncle ever, like cursing Uncle Ryan.
My one nephew watches my Minecraft channel, and he wants to be a streamer when he grows up. And I'm like, my sister, she's a bit of a gong show, so I'm like, all right, I'll unfuck his stuff and just give me a call when he turns 13 and he's allowed to make an account. We'll see what we can do.
Oh dear. Oh my.
All right. Also, Ryan, can you translate that into real currency for me?
27? Oh, just minus 30%. So
minus 30.
so
like
so it's like 19
$19.
bucks. That's this $20 super chat in Canadian funds.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Thank you very
It's
much.
just inflation.
Yeah.
Justin Trudeau, get it? It's double
Just
entendre.
just inflation.
That's the big Canadian meme right now amongst the CPC. It's just inflation.
Cool. All right, well, let's go through the panel real quick. Paul, what do you got going on?
Oh, just go to the channel and, subscribe and watch my stuff. If you're not doing that, you're missing out. I do have an email list too, which is stuff I can't necessarily or don't share on YouTube. That's really good, actionable stuff. No spam. Get on that. That's all the free stuff. And I am doing my Seduction Mastermind group, which is still available. If you go to apexmindset.net, you can book a free consult to interview for it. This is before prices change on the different tiers. So until I reorganize that, we're in the old price pattern. And so, you can save a little money, work with me one-on-one for a year to get dialed in on your seduction frame and, girl situations. And that's it for me.
All right. Ryan, tell us how much you hate children.
To keep hammering it home. Look,
I'm not gonna be able to pick on you for another week. It's just
please
Twitter,
do go for it. For once, it's not you getting picked on. I'm kind of actually happy to see it.
In person, it's so much better live.
Give me 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, that might happen in May. Actually, I might be sneaking down to Miami.
Really?
I might not be at any kind of masculine excellence things, but I might just be there for a beer and a chat.
Jeez, I might come visit. All right.
Digital Ryan, look, I'm not trying to save the world. I'm not trying to help men's sexual strategy. I provided a lot of information over like 10 years of Red Pill, plus my own experiences. Actual stuff. Not horseshit theory, not horseshit values, nothing that. Just here's what's been tried, here's what worked, here's what didn't. That's the main channel. If you guys don't know that by now, I don't know what to tell you. Beyond that, though, I'm like, okay, that is doing its thing. Let's have some fun. We're sitting here, we're playing just fucking, like you said, like help the kids. Well, I got a Minecraft channel. There you go. We're talking about this stuff in the chat. We're swapping notes. We keep it super casual. It's actually somewhat fun and engaging. It's something you can leave on in the background during your morning commute. It's somewhat, mostly family friendly. So if your kid is into Minecraft, then he can listen to this and talk about, when dating girls, this might not be the best thing for you. And at the very least, it's entertaining for the average 37-year-old man that just wants to play Project Zomboid at the end of the day or whatever. So come check it out. I'll
Digital
put a link in
Ryan
the chat.
on YouTube. Digital Ryan on YouTube. All right.
I'll put it into the chat here.
All right, cool.
So you guys can check that out. It's fun. It's whatever. You know what? Red Pill, it's only going to be able to preach to you so much. At some point, it has to entertain you with some stuff that's not woke. So we're on that. We're on that track now.
Oh, I
Enjoy
appreciate
yourself.
the channels that aren't all analysis and all that.
Okay, I'll
Tropic
post a
Thunder,
link
what
in
do you
the
got
chat.
going on?
Yeah, check out. I started the Clips channel. I got the Clips channel going. JFKN Clips. Check that out. It's clips of my podcast, and they're really funny. It's great entertainment.
Cool. Jack, are you on any platforms that you haven't been kicked off yet, or what?
Yes, I am actually. I am.
Okay.
I am on YouTube, and I mostly talk about strength training related stuff, mostly the basics, because a lot of guys get that wrong. So if you want to get your lifting life in order, go to my channel, go subscribe, the Truthcast on Tuesdays, and I have my flagship podcast with Rob Says, former Masculine Geek. Every day, normal man, red pill stuff. Just swapping
Let me
notes,
tell you
things like
something,
that.
Jack. The
Blue
thing
collar
about being
worker.
Jack, is you gotta go on this thing and you gotta talk about yourself. You know what I'm saying, Jack? It's all right. It's okay.
Is that a Dutch accent?
No,
No,
that's wrong.
it's verb. It's,
But I also haven't, since I got banned off Twitter for, everybody opposes the don't say gay bill. Here I am saying gay in a euphemism and I get banned. It's like, what do you want? It's like, yeah. But I also have a mailing list. You can get all that and you get the exercise performance course for free. 6 videos on how to perform the most important exercises. Link to all of that is in the chat.
cool. And then I got my new book coming out probably this week. Got through editing and now I gotta make the font look pretty. So The Menu, Life Without the Opposite Sex. It's a very cheery, rosy topic. I gave a copy to the great one to read. He's like, I've never read anything so depressing. And he's pretty dark to begin with. I was very proud of myself. I'm like, wow, this is going to be great. So that's going to come out later. But then otherwise, you can find all my books on Amazon. That includes Batch of Pad Economics, Curse of the High IQ, Reconnaissance Man, Worthless, and of course, The Black Man's Guide Out of Poverty. And then if you got questions, you go to assholeconsulting.com if you got any specific questions there. All right, that's it. Thanks for joining me, guys. Jack,
Thank
take
you
us
for
out.
having me.
Toodles.